I cannot say this enough. I have got to get the power layout done. Last week on the Lazy Scrapbooker's next big project, Jeff and I took another pass at narrowing down the photos, and we were able to eliminate 50 more, landing at 589 photos, and we agreed to make the project 2 albums. But our feeling of accomplishment was short-lived when I uploaded the photos to order and found huge problems with their resolution. After some research, we found it was because they were copied and pasted from Google Photos instead of downloaded, which we had to do because of an ancient laptop. We really have a lot of technical issues in this household. I finally got my photos ordered, and once they arrived at my house, they sat in their boxes for 3 months. Yeah, that's right, I missed my Christmas deadline. But I caught you up on everything I'd been doing instead of working on this project. Thanks to hosting online events, I at least completed my first 6 pages of the album. And thanks to Jeff's diligent journaling on the road, I've got all the journaling I'll need for the entire album. Hi, I'm Donna Guest, the Lazy Scrapbooker and Creative Memories Advisor. Thanks for joining me for my next big project. We're going to plan, organize, and create a scrapbook for my husband and son's 2-week road trip, their baseball blowout. So look what I have here. This is so overwhelming. I can't even talk about it. I have got all my photos here, and yeah, I showed these before, but now it's time for me to get them in order. And fortunately, when I have them printed with Creative Memories, they come back in the order, the right order. So that is hugely helpful. But I'm going to grab my photo labeling pencil here and fill in some of the dates, because when I have to print to fit like this, if I want the whole print and it comes with a little white on the side, the date, the metadata, the date and the timestamp are gone from the back. And so I wish Creative Memories could fix that part. But so I'm just going to fill in some dates and really just make sure they're organized, because I'm going to put them all in one of these. Let me show you. So I've got this photo file mate, and this is pretty old. It's labeled with some things from an album that's been done a long time ago. I just pull it out of my stash to use. I've got my outline. I know when I did my husband's firefighter albums, it was a multi-page outline, but that was a very different project. This information on the right is what I named the project when I ordered it from Creative Memories. You can see here, for example, this one says Boston 2024. Most of them I labeled with something a little bit better, like baseball blowout, day 10 and 11. So that's kind of how it goes. So it's pretty organized. I really should not be overwhelmed by this. I'm only overwhelmed by the volume of it. I mean, that's a lot of photos. So I'm putting my pictures in order. I was slightly wrong. They are still in order by Creative Memories, but they are in reverse order. So I'm doing this. Ooh, look, it was my first clam chowder. And if you're going to have clam chowder, it's great to have it in Boston. That was delicious. Now I'm hungry. I have to say, even though I'm doing this, it is much better than having to sort out photos that are in some random order. So this is not really a big deal. I just need to do it a few times. And the best use of a Creative Memories box goes to... I didn't finish the stack of... That's a weird angle. That's a weird angle. I didn't finish this big stack of photos last night. It got too late. So I'm back at it today, and you know what? I thought it was so orderly, and it was. It was, until I started messing around with them, and I think I have confused myself, and I can't figure out the order. I could go ask Jeff to interrupt what he's doing and help me do this, but you know what? I've got it still on my computer, so I've brought my computer in. So I've got the computer here on my very messy scrapbook table. So I'm going to consult these folders that Jeff gave me so I can double check which photos I got out of order, because I am blaming myself for this. This is such a good idea to do this, so helpful. But what I've quickly learned is that this little wonderful file mate for photos is not going to be enough for all of these photos. So I need a better organization. I could go to one of our power sort boxes. I could definitely do that. They hold 1,200 photos. That's pretty much what I've got. Huh. That's a better idea. Why am I trying to get them all into this little thing? Because it was just conveniently located next to me. This doesn't hold 1,100 photos. I have the perfect amount for our power sort box. I'm gonna go get one. Fortunately, I've got a pretty big scrapbook stash in my basement. Look at all that beautiful inventory over there. So I just grabbed the power sort box in rainbow dot. I love that. So I've already unwrapped it here, and now I'm going to put it together. I started a little bit, and so it's so sturdy. All of it's photo safe, and you've got these corners that you have to attach. I've already done one side, now I have to do the other. But there's these very sturdy tabs here that are going to fit into these little slots that are much smaller than the tabs, but it does work. You just kind of have to jam them in there. And here goes the last one. It just clicks into place. It's a little bit of a struggle for a moment, but you get used to it. So now I've got this nice, big, sturdy power sort box. So there we go. I should have done this, I would say, months and months ago, but I should have intended to do this when I saw that number of photos. Now, it comes with 6 little compartments. They each hold 200 photos, and then it comes with a sampling of these wonderful little cards, and I've got some more that, hey, I had put in here because you can buy the cards separately. These are photo safe. Looks like little index card dividers. I'm gonna take these all, and the time I spent getting this together and labeling that yesterday was a waste of time. I'm just happy to have them all in order here, and with these cards I can label them not just by day. I'm struggling here. It's not hard at all. I can label them not just by day, but by event, because they can kind of match the folders that Jeff gave to me with all of the different locations. So I'm going to finish this up now and start getting it organized. And these tabs just come through the back like this. And I've made a label to put on the front of it, and what would a cute label be without some fun dots? I love the Creative Memories dot tip pins. We don't always have them for sale, so when they come around, grab them up. I like to put them on everything. I don't know that they're really masculine for this trip, but I don't care. I'm the one doing the scrapbook. And look how cute that is. I love to take the dots off the edges, which is why the scratch paper was important. So I've put my pins back in my wonderful little marker nook here that I have from Stamp and Storage. I'll put my affiliate link in the description because I love their organizational products. So my organization has halted a bit because as I'm making, filming this, my phone keeps stopping. It tells me the storage is full. I'm at 99% full. So I am now having to remove photos and videos from my phone that I haven't removed yet onto the laptop that I want to save. And then this guy's getting in the way. It's dinner time. Size 172 gigabytes. I guess I could move him. I have no idea what happened between the time I unpackaged these Boston pictures. There's 3 boxes of them, and then till now. I don't know what I did, but they are so out of order. I'm having to use the computer and then look at the timestamps, because I really feel like the chronological order is very important with this album because it's a trip and it went event by event. So I'm usually not a chronological scrapbooker, but this time I am going to be. I really don't know what happened with these. It's appalling. So once I got through the whole Boston picture debacle that I had going on here, everything has been smooth sailing. All the pictures are in order coming out of the boxes when I get them out of the box. I will say they're in reverse order. So the first pictures are in the back and the last pictures are in the front. I don't know why, but I don't care. Easy to figure out, and I've got them in chronological order, which again is so important to me. And I'm so pleased looking at these. Jeff did exactly what I had on the checklist. There's a picture of the stadium. There's a selfie inside the stadium. They checked all the boxes. Okay, it's just after 10 o'clock and I'm done. Look at how beautiful this is. And I actually have to admit, the dots were not planned to match this. I wasn't even thinking. I just like adding polka dots on everything. So that was a happy accident. Look at this. It's already got cat hair on it. My goodness. So I can lift this off and check out inside. It's all in order chronologically and organized. Now it starts on day 2 because I've already scrapbooked day 1 thanks to my online events that have forced me to do it. And then I've got all of these in order labeled. I kind of separate it by day, and then you have a separate one for game. And then I've got one in the back where I'm putting miscellaneous photos because there might be a page I do just called On the Road that has just miscellaneous photos of how they lived for 2 weeks out of a suitcase, and it doesn't really need to be chronological. So, how cool is that? And the great thing is that I can also fit smaller pieces of memorabilia in here. Anything that's a 5x7 or less, it's going in here because it's going to be in chronological order. So that's my next step. You know, it occurred to me when I went up to show this box to Jeff, and he was very excited about it. Well, as excited as a guy will get about a power sort box with photos in it. And I realized it wasn't really full. And I know I said earlier I had over 1,100 photos and this holds 1,200. Well, I don't have over 1,100 photos. I have 500 and something. I've already forgotten the number. I don't even have 600 photos. Thank goodness. So it's about halfway full, which is good because that leaves plenty of room to shuffle around through it and to add the memorabilia. So I just had to correct myself on that. There seems to be a lot of me correcting myself. Y'all are going to have to keep me straight or I'm going to scrapbook all 1,100 photos somehow. So my next 2 challenges are due for my fast page February, which means I've got to create 2 more layouts. So I'm going to work on the album and I still haven't done the power layout. So what I'm doing instead is I've looked at my outline. So I've already done day 1 and day 2 is going to start with 1 page. It looks like I've got just a few photos and that will be maybe actually 2 photos. And that's going to include the little box I was talking about on the previous episode of starting each day with how many miles they drove, where they went, all of that information. So I'm going to skip that for now. And then I'm going to do 6 pages, it looks like, on the military museum they went to. So I've got those photos separated out. I should have 25 right here. I'm going to count to double check, but I'm going to turn that into 6 pages. That should be pretty easy. But the way I'm going to do that is I'm really going to consult his journaling here. So here's the journaling that I've got. And right here, he talks about going to this museum. So I'm just going to kind of see what I can pull out of there and sort the pictures that way, although I'm going to keep them in chronological order. It just might help me put so many on 1 page and so many on the next 2-page spread and so forth. But that's where I am now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now I say I'm going to keep it chronological, but the second photo is them in front of the sign that says U.S. Army Heritage and Education Center. So that obviously has to be the first photo, although this one's going on the first page as well. I made an absolute mess of my storage and display totes trying to find some military paper. We had call to serve. I sold a lot of it, but did I buy any for myself? Fortunately, I have 1 more pack, and it is mine. Sold. Wow, this is a great paper pack. I am really regretting not buying more of this, but you know, this looks familiar. I used this piece in Jeff's firefighter album. I guess I used the rest of it when I did the bit of his firefighter album where he was deployed. So I guess mine's gone because I couldn't find any. Thankfully, this is still a current product, so I'm going to order a few more packs for myself. I'll tell you this though, if I were not already a huge fan and believer in the power layout system, I would be after this because trying to pull together some pages without this in a power layout, that's hard. Fortunately, this one really cool sheet, I like the back and the front, I'm going to use them both, pairs so nicely with the Wonderful Day collection, and I'm going to use from the Wonderful Day wood grain pack these 2 pieces as the background. Y'all, I should not even be allowed to use regular tape runner. I don't know why I picked it up, but I did it so quickly. I put tape on, you guessed it, the wrong side of the paper. So multi-tool to the rescue, but this is not fun and it's slowing me down. But I will say it is getting this regular tape runner off of this paper without leaving any kind of tear or residue. Amazing. I only did it in 3 points, so I've only got 1 more to do here. So that's good to know. Wow, like new. Oh, let's use repositionable. What am I thinking? So this background here does not match the brown paper I've chosen. So that seems like a time to fussy cut. And for that, that's just cutting your photo out. Kind of old school, but it is back in style. So I like the micro tip scissors for this. They are so tiny and sharp. It really does help you get around all those little edges. I have to be careful on heads. I tend to overcut sometimes and make their head or hat look smaller than it is, which is just crazy. So I'm going to actually cut in here, but get the poster as well. It's an Uncle Sam poster, and of course, as Nathaniel always does, he's going to mimic that. I like fussy cutting because it allows me to put more photos on the page, and I think it adds a little bit of character to your page. Now, I would not overdo it. I limit myself to 1 per page, but that's going to look good right there. Okay, that's not bad. I did a pretty good job. Now, the best fussy cutter I've seen is my mom, because she grew up in the 40s and 50s and paper dolls were a big thing then. And then she had 4 daughters, so she has cut a lot of paper dolls in her day, so she can fussy cut like nobody's business. This is great. I've pulled up the digital file, the Word document of Jeff's journaling, and he's written everything. The journaling he did at night, I guess it's all complete sentences, exactly what you would need for journaling in a scrapbook. So all I have to do pretty much is read through it and format it to the right width. And I've already measured this paragraph. It needs to be 4 inches wide. So we're going to do that here. There we go. And I think I'm going to use, just to make it look nice and because I can, the full justification. And so the left side, it spaces it out a little bit, but it sure does look good in a scrapbook. And of course, Microsoft is there to correct any of our errors. Much better. Okay, my one very minor dilemma, and I do mean minor, is Jeff has adopted the more modern method of 1 space between sentences, which I can appreciate. He's more current. But I took typing for a year back in the 80s, and we had 2 spaces between sentences, and I just can't get away from that. I just can't. It's a life choice, I realize. So I printed my journaling, the right sizes, and I am just using regular printer paper. I'm okay with that. I used that good archival paper in my last series to print newspaper articles on. So this, when you're printing on thin paper like this and going to attach it, what I recommend is the vellum tape runner. That's the one with the blue refill. They're only sold in refill, so you just got to find another cartridge lying around. If you're like me, you have a ton. So the great thing about the vellum is that it does not show through. If I'd used regular or repositionable even, it would show through. You don't see anything like that because it's meant for that translucent vellum paper. So now I'll just cut it at 1/8. I've got a great chart for this. If you would like a chart on these measurements for smaller amounts up here, shoot me an email at donnaguest@comcast.net and I will reply to it with your own little printable PDF. To do 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to line up my journaling with this right dotted line here. And then here, to do 1/8 of an inch this way, I'm going to line it up with that left part of the gray mat. Perfect. So for this particular border, I have chosen to put something white behind it because I didn't think this navy showed up well enough. So I'm just going to use my repositionable tape runner. I'm using this silicone mat down here and just place it slightly off, just slightly, so you can see a little bit of that white coming through, just a little, not too much. So it gives it a little bit of a shadow, that's all. So it does make the border stand out more. So I finished my 2 layouts for Fast Page February, and I completed 4 more pages in the album. The next day, we spent the day in Athens, Georgia for a University of Georgia basketball game, my alma mater, Go Dogs, where I had fun performing with the Dance Dogs alumni group, the Golden Dogs. We're not old, we're just golden. And after 11 hours away, I had a whole list of things I wanted to do when we returned home. So I did these 2 sets of pages for my Fast Page February, and while I love the pages, I completely failed to get the memorabilia. So 4 pages into this 6-page spread, I guess you could call it, and I forgot about all of this memorabilia for that day. Completely didn't even think about it. So fortunately, I have 2 more pages to do in that group of photos, but I may have to add a little bit because he's got some cool stuff. He's got maps and things like that, and I love to include those. So I have got to slow down on completing the pages before we get this memorabilia organized and sorted and in the right place. I have got to do the power layout, but my Fast Page February, it's going fast and I have to keep turning out pages, 2 layouts a week. So I got to get myself together on this project before I make a big mistake and leave a lot of things out. I thought Jeff and I would organize the memorabilia tonight when we got home, but we were gone all day and I had work to catch up on, and now it's after 1 a.m. So, we're just going to have to tackle this tomorrow. But I have put this safely in a stack here where everything is in one place. We've got this whole bag of things. We actually had a panic the other night. Well, I had a panic. I thought I had lost all of the tickets. Yes, all of the tickets that they have from all those games and all the memorabilia. I couldn't find anything. So I knew I had seen them, but then I thought, did I lose them? And after about 15 minutes of looking everywhere, Jeff found them in his workshop. So I apparently had given them back to him for fear of losing them. While I started filming for this series back in August, I didn't start putting the videos together until late January. So, due to my hiatus, I am now caught up and I'm in real time. So that means if you see me or if you send me a question, say, hey, are you done with the albums yet? The answer is going to be no. You are now seeing the real time. The biggest accomplishment this week, all 589 photos are sorted and organized. That's huge. And you and I both know the next step. We have got to get this memorabilia sorted and organized, and then and only then can I complete the power layout. Because with my fast page February forcing me to do some pages, I'm starting to make some mistakes and I'm leaving out things, as you saw. I'm teaching a power layout class this weekend. It's a great opportunity for me to show a few pages that have been done because it only takes about 6 to 8 pages to teach the class. I really need to have those prepared ahead of time. So there's a little extra motivation for me. But that's a perfect opportunity to show a power layout with the memorabilia. And now that the videos are caught up with my actual progress, there's extra motivation to keep going because I've got to have something to show you next week. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on yet another big project. See you next week.